What makes someone successful? What makes you attracted to someone? What makes you lean in when someone's speaking? What makes you click that follow button on social media? Or better yet, unfollow. Nobody likes that. What is it? What is that thing that people have, that magnetism? What is it? Let's take a look at these examples. Duck Dynasty, who knows these guys? What is it about them that made them have a massively successful show? It's because they stayed true to who they were, their family values. There's a little too much faith talk. People in the network were like, I don't know, I think you should edit this. And they said, no, this is who we are. And we're keeping the beard too. Yeah? Oprah. Who loves Oprah? This woman gets molested when she's a young girl, has so much pain and trauma, but she decided to lean in and to serve in such a big way that now she's a household name. Princess Di, the late Princess Di. I'll never forget when she passed away. I was just a little girl, and I was at a family picnic, and everybody stopped what they were doing, and everybody sat around the TV, and my mother was weeping, and I was like, Mom, what's up? Like, I don't understand. Why are you so sad? And my mom looked over to me and said, because she was real. She was the people's princess, and she was real, and the world craves real. What about this guy? Yeah? Did you know that Steve Harvey used to get in trouble in school? Because why? He was telling jokes all the time. And what did he end up doing with his life? Telling jokes, leaning in to what makes him truly unique. And so what's the commonality of all these people? They're keeping it real, and they are deeply rooted in owning who they are, their strengths, and even knowing their weaknesses. And in our time here together, my mission is to help you understand how divinely created you are, and to help you understand that there may be things blocking you from that next level of success. So if you're ready to break through, say yes. Yes. You see, for me, it hasn't always been this easy. I haven't always been this polished. When I got into entrepreneurship and I started my first business at the age of 23, I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor in a small town in Minnesota, and I got into a business where they said, there's no limits. You can build this thing as big as you want to. And I'm like, no limits? I come from a single mom and a lot of childhood trauma, and I never went to college, but you're telling me there's no limits for this girl? Game on, game on, game on. I will change the game. I will change the game. And I went to work, my friends, and what I did is I committed. What's the word? Committed to myself and my growth. I didn't buy anything for a few years other than personal development books. I got myself an old desk, I made a vision board, and I started to learn sales. Woo! It's not that easy. I started making the calls, and I'm like, no. They're saying no. They're saying no. I'm like, okay, they just say go for no. So I'm just going, and I'm like, okay, people are not numbers, but it is a numbers game. Okay, and I just keep going and going and going. And I remember being 23, going to conferences such as this, and I would see people on stage, and I was like, I don't know. I can't be like them. I don't really want to dress like them either. And I was like, this isn't my flavor. I can't really figure it out. And I tell you what, it wasn't until I figured out that you're never going to outperform your own self-image. Meaning, you can model after other people, and that's great, but don't try to be someone that you will never, ever be. You feel me on that? Yeah, that's exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting. There is 2 fundamental truths that I have come here to share with you today. And you need to be reminded of this. And this may seem so elementary, but we walk outside these doors and we forget in a second that you were knitted together in your mama's belly, and there is only one you. There's only one you. So how quickly do we go online, or how quickly do we get in business and we just start to compare ourselves, and it's this shitstorm roller coaster, and all of a sudden you're lowering your frequency and you wonder why you're not a magnet for people. You wonder why you feel crappy when you lay your head on your pillow at night, and it's because you have forgotten how uniquely created and divine that you are, my friends. So lean in to this understanding. Your cellular makeup is the only one of your kind. Boom. That should get you pumped. And what else you need to know is that nothing has happened to you or has ever happened to you as God so perfectly designed it. So no victims here. No victims here. No victims here. No victims here. We're going to all go through things. We're going to all go through crap. All of us in this room, raise your hand if you've gone through some things. If you've got a story to tell, look around. Look around. It's not happening to you, but it's happening for you. Yes. So why? Why are you trying to fit in when you're born to stand out? Why? Why are you trying to be like the others? The world is looking for bold leaders. Bold leaders. Bold leaders. I'll say it again. Bold leaders that can serve them, that they trust to give their money to with a service that can help their lives. But if you're trying to fit in and be like the masses, you're never going to step into the call that has been on your life. Can I get an amen? Amen. So what do you do? What do you do every day to live this high frequency life? To live just knowing how BA you are, knowing how unique you are. What do you do every day to fortify that mindset? Because we know we are in sales, and sometimes it can be awesome, and other times it can suck, and other times you want to evaporate, right? It's just the truth. I've been in it for 15 years. I get it. But I started to really learn early on, if I want to create the life of my dreams, I got to every day you be. Every day you be. And what does this mean? Every single day, you got to unleash, baby. You got to unleash. And what does that even look like? How do you unleash? One of the best ways to unleash is through activity. It's making that call that could change it all. It's going to those networking events. It's going and putting yourself out there where you could find a client that's going to find a client that's going to find a client that's going to find a whole bunch of other clients, right? That is what is required to unleash. And one of my secrets to success and how I hit a 7-figure income by the time I was 26 years old is unleashing myself for every day and keeping the main thing, the main thing. Keep the main thing, the main thing. And this is where you build confidence. You want some more confidence? Yeah. Do you want some more confidence? Yeah. So you got to unleash. Do the hard things first. The activity that you are avoiding is the secret to setting your family free. Do it first. Do it first. Do it first. And then you build, baby. You build yourself. Men and women in here, we got to build ourselves up. And that is the power of the great I am. And what does that mean? I am bold. I am beautiful. I am a badass. I am a child of God. I am a millionaire. You know what? When I first started my first business and I wanted to break the cycle of what? Money doesn't grow on trees, Emily. Why is your head in the clouds? Who do you think you are? You should go to school. Brrr, all the suck, all the low energy stuff. I had to build myself because every single day people are trying to knock you down. Do you understand that? Every single day. Turn on the freaking news. Knock you down. Make you feel less than. Women, make you feel not good enough. Men, make you feel not like a good enough provider. Every single day. So you have to go to work on your mental fortitude. You have to build yourself up. Build yourself up. And then you got to express yourself, baby. Express yourself. Stop hiding your emotions. And no, I don't mean go be this emotional drama. No. Share your heart. Share your heart. Vulnerability is a secret weapon, especially in your business. If you show me a little bit of your scars, I'm going to show you a little bit of mine. And I'm going to want to do business with you. But if you think you're perfect and you act perfect and you're a used car salesman vibe, I'm going to run for the hills. You see, when every day you be and you practice this is what makes you a magnet. Who would like that? What if I told you, though, it's not good enough just to change habits? It's not, I'm sorry. It's great to change habits. And in the personal development industry, you read any book, it talks a lot about habit changes. What's my morning routine? What's my night routine? What's my KPIs? What's my number? I love all this. But the truth is, it's not good enough. Because there is thoughts and patterns that have been set in your mind since you were little. Maybe it's something that happened to you when you were a little boy, little girl. Maybe your dad left. Maybe your mom left. Maybe someone told you something in school, like you weren't smart enough. And what starts to happen is these things show up in our lives, and they take over. And I call this, my friends, a stronghold. It's a stronghold. And what happens is you believe it to be true. I have anxiety. I have a problem with eating. I've always just been this way. I'm this, I'm that. And it's a habitual pattern that we believe to be true. And it's rooted. It's deeply rooted inside of you. And most people just live their life like this. They try to change the habits. They try to put some Band-Aids on it, but they never get to the root issue. So this shows up. Negative self-talk. For some of us, we talk ourselves out of opportunity. A client comes, it's a big fish, but you're like, I'm not going to be able to serve that person to my level. So I'm just going to back off, right? Is anyone willing to admit they do these things? Emotional strongholds, anxiety, stress. You can't sleep at night. Your cortisol levels are crazy. Social media addiction, All these things, what they do, my friend, what they do is they take over your life. It dominates your life. And this is called a stronghold. And to help me elaborate a little deeper on this, I'm going to take you back to me being a little girl. Yeah, this is me in Minnesota, a hot August day. And I was raised by a single mom, like I shared, and we didn't have a lot. There was times when we were on food stamps, and it was a struggle. But everything we did have, we took really good care of. That's how I was raised. And never forget it, my mom loves gardening. And I think it's just her escapism. And she would garden any bit of leftovers, like she would garden. And I was with her on this hot August day, and I remember she just started weeding, and she's going at it. And she's like, this is like her release. She works multiple jobs. This is like her one time, and she loves it. And I remember she started to pull this weed out, but it looked so pretty. And I was like, what are you doing, Mom? I'm like, Mom, no, that's a flower. What are you doing? And she said, no, Emmy. She said, sometimes weeds look like flowers. Sometimes weeds look like flowers. Sometimes weeds look like flowers. And if we're not careful, Emily, this one little weed will take over the whole bed, and it will kill and destroy it. Sometimes weeds look like flowers. They disguise themselves. And in our lives, sometimes these little weeds, they have taken over you from having a blessed marriage, from having an abundant business, from being self-expressed. They show up in all different forms. They do. So we got to kill the weeds, and we got to go to the root of the issue. Because like I said, you can't combat lies with changed behavior alone. I wish I could tell you just do a morning routine, take an ice bath like me, do a sauna, do the contrast therapy, you're going to be hot to trot, let's go. No, that ain't it. You must change your beliefs, and your changed behavior flows from that. So how do we change our belief system? Well, every day you go to work on that, and it takes a tremendous amount of discipline, but it does to be great and to be a life changer and to be free. I'll just tell you that. But what I do and what I recommend that you do is weed and feed, baby. And so what does this look like? We weed the garbage. You weed that BS that is lying to you. Anything that is not of God, it's a lie. It's wanting you, thank you. It's wanting you to feel this big. It's wanting to take over your life. It's wanting to put these things in your mind that is trying to steal your joy. You are meant to live in joy. And you're already good enough, by the way. It's not based on how much money you make. That's a good thing when we make a lot of money because we can amplify that and put that back out into the marketplace, amen? Okay, but it's not your identity. You're already good enough. So what do we need to do? My life, I'm telling you, my life went bananas crazy happinessville.com when I started to weed and feed. So every day I weed the garbage. And what this requires, my friends, is to get quiet. I know. Who has 10 minutes? If you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. You don't. 10 minutes. Get up earlier if you're running the house. 10 minutes a day. I read the bestseller. It's this book. It's really good. It's a bestseller. It's filled with wisdom, filled with scripture. You do you, boo. That's what I do. I get fed. I get fed the truth. And this makes me invincible. And this gives me confidence, okay? And this gives me wisdom. Yes, yes. So I read that. And then I pray. Pray, meditate. Listen. It's already in you. Everything you need is already in you. It is. You just have to access it. It's there. So quiet. Meditate, receive, pray, ask. Ask to be healed. Ask to be set free. Ask. And then praise. And what's praise? It looks different to all of us. But what praise is living in a state of gratitude. And I'll tell you, my friends, when I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor, but I had hope because I found a compensation plan and I found a business that I knew that I could just dive into and crush it, I would thank God for my pillow, and I would thank God for this opportunity, even though I didn't have nice things, and I drove a purple Saturn, go Vikings, like I could hardly afford snow tires, but the truth is, one of my mentors said to me, why do you think that your creator is going to give you more if you can't be grateful for what you already have? Like, what is that? So I weed and feed. I'm feeding myself. I'm feeding my mind. I'm nourishing my soul. And again, you might be thinking, Emily, this is a business conference. Yeah, but guess what? When you live this way, you live at a frequency, and people don't know why you're so cool. People don't know why they're so attracted to you. People don't know what you have. People don't know what you're selling. They don't even know. They're just like, I want it. How would you like to be that way? That's what's up. So you weed and you feed, and you get going. But there's a whole nother side of it when it comes to building something great. Who wants to build something great? Yeah. You see, I love passion. I'm clearly a very passionate person. Cody is a very passionate man, right? Would you not agree? Yeah. Lauren's passionate. Everyone. Passion's great, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I'm sorry, it's not enough. You got to have zeal. And every Instagram post, every other, like, passion, be passionate, do what you're passionate about. If I lived my life on passion alone, I wouldn't be engaged, because I don't like him when he leaves the toilet seat up. Okay? Let's just be real. And when I started my business and I made no money the first year, and I was like, dude, I want this more than all these cats in here. I am more motivated than everybody, but I wasn't seeing the ROI. I quickly learned that passion alone will only get me so far. I got to have zeal. And what does it mean to live a life filled with zeal? It means you are devoted. You are committed. No matter what, you're going to stay in it.
What I understood is that, and I teach people this, that, when I teach the IT factor, there's two fundamental truths. Okay. You're uniquely and wonderfully created, no matter what. Yep. Okay. We're all unique, and we're all to a cellular level. Yep. That's number one. Number two, the other fundamental truth is everything in your life has been designed for you as God so perfectly designed it. And as our friend Tony Robbins says, it happens for you, not to you. Yep. And so knowing these two things, I really leaned into these two fundamental truths and go, there's no other me. There's no other you. There's no other Dean. Let's lean into that. What are my strengths? For me, it's the gift of communication, the gift of influence, the gift of leadership, leaning into that. But I still had and still have many limiting beliefs. I still have challenges. And now today I can hire out for that. But in the beginning, not so much. You gotta face them. Yeah. But what I have done, and I know that we talk about this in personal development, but it's a whole nother thing to do it. It's to really discipline your day by bookending your day. So when I had nothing sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I can tell you the freaking sheets on the bed. I could tell you so vividly. I would take my old notebook and I would write out what I was grateful for. This pillow, right? An opportunity to build my dreams. And what started to happen is, because I reshifted my energy and my mindset, my frequency started to raise. So when I went out there to pitch the plan, to get someone to do the business, to sign someone up,
you're coming from a different place.
I'm freaking vibing at a different level. And one man that I signed up, he was a gym owner, one of my first gym clients. He said to me, he goes, Emily, I had no idea you were making like $54 a week. I thought you were making like six figures. He's like, because of your posture, your energy, and your certainty. And why I say bookend your days is because how you start your day matters, because most people just roll out of bed and go on social. They don't design their days, somebody else does. So that conditioning of your mindset is so major. I worked on myself more than I worked on my business, quite frankly.
Well, if you look at the most successful people on the planet, that's what they've done.
That's what they've done.
So let me ask you, if you don't mind, let's go a little deeper on that. How would you bookend your day if you were talking to the Emily who was 3 weeks in of sleeping on that mattress? You figured these things out along your journey. You figured them out when you were in a rough space, and then things started getting better, and you probably evolved and evolved and evolved. If you were back talking to Emily of 2000, did you say 2020?
2010.
2010. That's what I meant. How would you share to bookend your day?
Yeah. So what I do in my morning routine, and this is something I actually do on Sundays, and everyone should do this, but it's wild how many people don't. I study my calendar and I put in there money-making activities. Normally that's what everybody avoids, right? Those are the hard calls. That's what you really need to be doing. Yeah. And so what I do in the morning is I study that calendar, and it doesn't mean I'm some workaholic, hustle all day long, because I believe so much in self-care just as well. But what I do in the morning is the WPP. And the truth is we're constantly battling our mind, we're battling outside sources, we're battling, people can call it Satan, they can call it whatever they want. I call it strongholds. There are things in our mind that sometimes they've been there since you were young. Yep. Like I grew up in a very abusive home with a single mom, a man that lived with her. Like I was told so many things when I was little that stayed in my head, right? And so the WPP, what I do in the morning is I read the living word. For me, that is the Bible. Yep. Just a little bit, not a lot, just a little message. You can even get a devotional, read something, okay? And then I pray. So I ask. We forget that we can ask for strength. We can ask for wisdom. We can ask for confidence. We can ask God to bring us a new business partner. I ask and then I praise. So I turn on some kind of good music, and what I'm doing is raising my frequency. Yeah. You know, I'm going in that state, and with the praise, it's kind of meditating as well. And so then what I'm doing with the WPP, once I go out there into the world, I got my armor on. I'm turned on, and it's like, come at me, bro. And I'm just kidding, you know. But like, I can face things. You know, I always say creativity is a new commodity for sure. Like, if people, you know, I teach a lot of branding, a lot of social content, and it's like you have a block because all you're doing is consuming, and you're never creating. So this, like, a byproduct of this is fresh ideas come. You're like, where did that come from? Oh my gosh! Like, what I do when I'm done with the WPP is I'll go move, and that's when, again, more ideas flow, all that stuff, before I get on Zoom, before I start, you know, checking Instagram and all these things. But even then, I'm still owning my future and knowing what's my schedule, what's going on. You know, it's huge. And then the back end of it, and I'm really keen on, you know, setting a standard of like 8 p.m., no phones in bedroom, or at least business in bedroom. And I mentor a lot of women that are like power chicks, and they're like, how do I be more in my feminine? I'm like, you gotta like come back to your feminine nature. We're always oscillating between both.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a real thing for women. And it really is, especially power chicks, right?
Yeah.
And so I turn on my
I love
bath.
that term, power chicks,
yeah.
right? Because every woman's a power chick.
Yes.
You just got to unleash it or unlock it, right?
Absolutely. So what I do in the evening is put on some good music, take a bath, do my whole nighttime routine, do stretching. It's really big. Like we have an outdoor patio where I'll do all my stretching. I unwind and read a little bit. I maybe study material for the next day if I have a guest coming on, or a speech I need to give, or a program I need to write. And that's just really my time. And then I go to bed and get my 8 hours, and I feel great. And I don't feel so like chaotic. I just don't do that.
Yeah.
I am being obedient to the call that my creator has put on my life. And what I'm doing now, it's not for Emily. Like in the beginning, it was. I'll be real. I just wanted to live my dream life. But now what drives me, Dean, is all the people that are grateful for what I'm doing. It's the messages. It's the, someone asked me the other day, they're like, I spoke, and they're like, you can just come back, like, let's go. And I was like, no. I want to go hear what landed for those people. I spoke at an insurance event, and I was like, there's a lot of men. I don't always speak to men. I need to know what landed. And the reason is because they freaking drive me. And it's like, we got to get over ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so selfish to get up with all this potential and be like, oh, I'm just going to keep it to myself. It's so stingy.
Yeah.
So what drives me is the people. Truly what drives me. And I keep putting the people in front of me. I was just at a women's expo where a woman was trafficked just 13 months ago in a coma. And we were able to pay her rent, get her some amazing education. And she stood there bawling her head off. She literally was in a coma for 3 weeks. And I'm like, I got in the car with my fiance, Jake, and I said, that freaking drives me. Let's make more money so we can do more good. And so truly getting over myself and serving others and reconnecting back to them, whether you're listening to this right now and you have one person that is watching you, you probably have more, they're just not commenting. Let them drive you. And so I wake up every day, and I've done this, and this is really how I started to change my millionaire mindset, I think, is I wake up every day and I say, what am I going to do today that scares the shit out of me? Like literally, what am I going to do today that gives me a little bit of that woo, right? And who can I bless today? I ask myself these two things, and I'm like, let's go. And that's how I stay like motivated and in. Vulnerability is your strength. And there's so many different ways that I could look at it. What I'm doing, having an event this weekend in Southern California, I've never done a type of event I'm doing. It's vulnerable. There's money on the line. There's reputation. Yeah, but I know on the other end of it, there's going to be strength from it. I'm going to learn from it. What's the worst that could happen? But then I also look at it in terms of even from a speaking perspective, like I will go there. And I know you will as well. You're one of the best speakers out there, and you drop in and you tell people your scars. You show people your stuff. That's what I do as well as a speaker is I open up and I let them in on some of my bad stuff, some of my things that have happened, because I know on the other side of it, that's what's going to allow them to open up to me, to trust. All of it is going to come in. I'm not going to go on stage and go, we're going to do this exercise right now. I want to know what happened to you before the age of 18. And I go through this whole test with people when I speak. Some guy isn't going to go, oh yeah, I was raped when I was young, or my mom got beat up, or I was abandoned. If I just go out there asking, no, I have to let them in and let them know, first of all, here's what I've been through. Here's how I've transcended and changed. I drop into that vulnerability, whether it's in a one-on-one on a stage of 10,000 to get other people to open up. It is your true strength.
It is
your true, and it's again, back to the women that want to be more feminine, it's being vulnerable. And when I first met my beloved Jake, I was a hard ass because I had been let down by men, and he even tried to be vulnerable again. He tried to hug me the first time, and he was like, you wouldn't give a real hug. And he was like, you gave like a side hug. And I'm like, because I'm used to being with men and I'm like, I'm just, he's like, no, you're buttoned up. Like, you have to trust me. You have to learn to be vulnerable. Yeah. And it wasn't until I learned to be vulnerable and open up that we really connected. Yeah, you got to bake in when you're going to do income producing activity into your calendar. So there's all these things that support our businesses. Like, people are listening to this right now and they're like, I'm learning, I'm growing, right? That's awesome. And there's things like putting together your product and shooting content, support. But what grows is when you are talking to a human
and they get a yes.
And you get a yes. That's what grows. And so again, we're avoiding the work. And I've coached people for over a decade, and I'm like, how many days today has the story been told about your product by you or someone in your organization?
You listening to this? Yeah. Listen, schedule it.
So you must. And I always say, do the hard things first. Right. And so baking that.
Stop playing with your logo.
Yeah.
Because you love being creative.
Frick. I mean, I was crushing before any of that stuff. Right. And so, but it's because I kept the main thing. And people are not numbers, but it is a numbers game, and you have to move product. And what happens is when you lean in and you start to, if you have in your calendar 2 hours today, I need to do social media outreach, I need to find new clients, I need to book appointments, and you do not let yourself leave your desk, there is nothing you can do. And you got to like play this game, because no one's coming to save you, by the way. Yeah. So this is what I would do. I would play games with myself, and still do. And I'll say, I cannot do this. I can't even go on a walk. I will not let myself leave until I do 100 reach outs.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And you start exercising that muscle. And so this is what I did. And I tell people this, when I was on my way to building my first company, I mean, I freaking drove a purple Saturn. Let's just be real. I would park that thing far away.
So nobody'd see
it. I went to the consignment shop. I got myself a blazer and a suit. I put myself together the best I could. I was 23 years old. I would walk into the coffee shop, and I would sit there and be waiting for the appointment, and I would visualize how it was going to go. Right. And you know what? I'll just be real with you guys. Like, when I first got started, it sucked. I verbal vomited on people. I was umming, and I remember profusely sweating, thinking, oh my God, it's coming up to the end. I'm going to have to ask for the sale. Am I going to lowball them on the small pack because that's my mindset? Or am I going to high ticket them out? What the frick am I going to do right now? And all this was going on in my head. And I would just go through it and through it and through it. And at the end of the meeting, okay, and this is what people don't do, I would sit in my car and I would assess. I would go, what did I do good? And what do I need improvement on? And I would record myself going through this so I could listen back and play back the tape. We don't play back the tape.
So good.
And that's how I got good. Right now. That's how I got really good, is assessing what happened. And but you first got to fill in the numbers. Like you
first got to schedule it.
You got to schedule it.
You got to love what you do.
Yeah.
Schedule it. Have a framework.
Yep.
Repetition. And
the thing is, if someone's listening and they're like, Emily, I don't even have someone, literally do this on your husband. Do this, first when I got started, I called my aunts and uncles. I called people from school, and I was like, hey, can I just like have you, I'm starting a new company and I need some practice. Like, how bad do you want it?